Okay, everybody, today is June 21st, 2015. I hope everybody's enjoying their Father's Day. Let's take a look at the market, and then later on we'll take a look at some of the momentum stocks. So let's start off with the S&P 500 on the screen here. I got the weekly chart here. As you can see, it's still confined within this big channel here that started basically from the 2009 low, and right now it's still hovering around the top end of the price channel. And within that channel, I also got a inner channel here that started out, back in was that the 2012 there, sometime back there, or end of the 2011. Okay, so we got this inner channel, and also you can see that it kind of extended outward a little bit. And the other thing that I have is also the Fibonacci retracement from the 2007 high to the 2009 low. And you can see that it's getting near to this 1618 extension here at 2138. And if we go and take a look at the daily, get a little bit of a closer look, so you can see that it's getting close to this this level here. And let me put back some of the level, the price line there, and we can take a look at some of these price level that kind of highlight where we are and what it has done. So right now we're still looking at the possibility for the S&P 500 maybe next week or this coming week to get back up and retest the all-time high. On Friday we kind of have a little bit of a inside bar here, but also again it's quadruple witching day on that RBX, so anything is possible that they were playing at the price, on the SPY somewhere around 211 and actually pin it at 210.50. So that kind of have a little bit of a uncertainty of what the real ramification on this price action actually meant to be. But right now we're essentially still looking for this either break on the upside or come down on the downside on this Thursday candle here. Okay, so if it break on the upside, there's a good chance that we are coming back up and we test this all-time closing high of 2130.82, and then an all-time intraday high of 2134.72. But if it breaks down below this engulfing candle here, then there could be a possibility of coming back down. But if it comes down, we want to see it hold above this particular low, because that's important. The reason why it's important is here, we have this pivot low here, come up and made a pivot high, then come back down to this low, and now went up here. So essentially we form a higher low, and then with this thing come down, we essentially got a higher high. So that would kind of give us a indication that the trend might have been reversed to back to this higher high, higher low, and take it up to possibly back up to this upper price channel here. And if I put back one of the Fibonacci retracement, we can also see that if we take this retracement here, you can see that it came down to the 618 and kind of tested a little bit and then bounced off of this 618. So we're essentially looking at the possibility for this thing to not only take out this high at the 2138 area, but also come up to this upper trend line somewhere around 2176, which is the 127 extension on this particular Fibonacci swing. Okay, so basically that's what we want to keep an eye on for the S&P 500. Then for the Dow Jones for the Dow Jones Industrial, again, if we go back and take a look at the weekly, we also see on the weekly it's similar to the S&P 500, confining in this big channel here. Okay, from the 2009 low, and also we got a inner channel, but you can see the confluence of this inner channel, upper portion of the inner channel is also this big price channel here. Okay, and here's this 1618, same thing as we did for the S&P 500, essentially taking the high of the 2007 to the low of 2009, and it extend up to 18,974, okay, on this 1618. So there's some potential upside there to for this thing to move up. And as you can see, I also have it's a little bit messy. Let me get rid of some of these lines here. And then we could see, so also we see this Fibonacci extension and going to the daily. Basically it's a similar type of swing that we made on the S&P 500. So you could see this, it came down just like the S&P 500. Okay, this one, it came down to the 50% level, and it kind of bounces off. So right now we're looking for this near term, not only take out this previous high, but also come up, maybe possibly tag this 127 extension on this particular Fibonacci swing of 18,708. Okay, so depending how strong this market is going to be, maybe we could see it come up and tag this upper channel here, and that would brings it up way into this, somewhere around the 19,000 area. Okay. And if we take a look at the NASDAQ 100, okay, again, let's take a look at it on a weekly basis. The NASDAQ 100, we're still looking at this, price channel here, okay, on that 212, from the 212, time frame to extend up to this. Now, again, the other thing that I want to highlight is the, the .com all-time bubble high. Okay, let me take this back to that time period here, and we could see that there is still some room for this thing to go. Okay, so here's that .com all-time high, somewhere around 4,800, 1635, and the closing high is actually 4,704. The all-time high intraday basis was made on a Friday, and on the following Monday, that's when it closed at the all-time closing high. Then after that, it just came crashing down. So I'm still, monitoring for the NASDAQ 100 to tag these high, because I believe that we will get into that euphoric state and run this market up and take out this .com high, because this market came too far to just and too close to back off from here. So we kind of keep an eye on that. Now, how are we going to get there? That's the that's the $64,000 question. But I'm kind of expecting it to get up there. Okay, maybe not in the the next month or so, but who knows? Maybe the summer rally in August might take it up there. We never know. But whatever it is, so right now I'm still looking for this thing to come back up. And again, it got a little bit of an inside candle on Friday. So we're looking for this thing to break out of this engulfing candle, or break down. Again, if it break down this engulfing candle, we wanted to see it remain, hold above this low, okay? Because here's this other pivot low. So we want to see these, these basically, these higher low, okay, to take out these high here, right? And then also the other thing is, it's the same thing, just kind of get some idea to project some potential resistance level or target level, since it's in some sort of, multi-year high type of territory. And essentially looking at this 127, right? This 127 extension here, right, on this swing will be somewhere around, 46.89. Okay, so and what we did is on Friday it closed at 45.13. So if we get up here, we're certainly in in that distance, near the .com closing high. So wouldn't be surprised to see it come up and tag this extension to take out this closing high. So, and looking at the Russell 2000, the Russell 2000 made a new high, a new closing high on Thursday, and also got a little bit of a, not necessarily, maybe not an NR7, but it's a narrow candle here. And it's also an inside candle. So again, we're looking forward to break out of the high of the Thursday high, or come down and maybe retest this breakout area on this 1278. And the other thing is, I expect it to at least get above that 1300 on the Russell. Okay, not necessarily next week, but it will take out that 1300 level. And here's that 127 extension at 1312.59. and this is the swing on this Fibonacci swing on this move here. So you can see that it came up, pulled back to the 50 level, 50%, bounces off, and then broke through it last Thursday. So right now we could see some sort of consolidation pushing up here, or maybe a push up a little bit and then come back and retest this 1278 before and make a push up to that 127 extension, 127 at that 1312. But again, we still have to pay attention to a potential pullback here. I mean, we can't just focusing on the upside, although that the bias seems to have changed a little bit toward the upside after we have that little pullback, okay, since the since the last high. But the Russell have been strong, and remember, I was looking for this formation on this head and shoulder pattern at one time. And even when it was up here, I'm still looking at it. But now it's when I also said that if it take out the high, then we'll take out this pattern, okay? And which is it did last Thursday. So it took out that high. So right now that head and shoulder pattern is no longer in play. But who knows, right? It could be doing this, right? That's a little bit of a distance out. So we're not going to worry about that right now until it starts showing us sign that it's going to do that. So right now we're basically focusing on, well, where this price will lead. How it's going to get up there, how it's going to take out this 1300, and would it be coming back down to test these level or these levels. So those are some of the stuff that we have to pay attention to. We don't know what it's going to do, but basically we just set up some scenario so we could kind of keep an eye on it, and then when it play out, then we sort of have some plan ahead of time to see how we could take advantage of it. Okay, so that's basically on the index. So let's take a look at some of the stock and start off with Apple. Okay, Apple's still a little bit weak because right now it hasn't been able to get back above this 133. Okay, it's still struggling to try to get above this trend line. It needs to take out this level here, okay, to get back up. So essentially getting us a higher highs type of stuff and a higher low. So right now I wouldn't be surprised to see Apple break this. The key thing is, look at this trend line first. There is a little bit of a trend line here, okay. So, and if I get this line, so there's a little bit of a trend line here. If it break that, it's okay, but this actually have to hold this. But if it break that, then here's the critical point that we need to see, this 122, okay. And that's essentially the 618 level here, okay, on this particular Fibonacci swing. I still believe that it has a possibility of coming back down to this 119, 120 area to fill this little gap. Okay, so it might dip down here, okay, dip down to this level and shake people out by coming back below the 618 and dip below 122 to fill this gap. Then we run it up. It'd be nice if it come down here with a little bit of a doji hammer or something like that. Then kind of flushes some of these patient holder, they finally gave up, then it will run it back up. Then there's a good chance that it will take out this 113 as the NASDAQ 100 go and tag that .com bubble high. Okay, so that's the scenario. Not saying that's what it's going to do, but that's one of the scenario I'm looking at. Right, for Apple to take out the previous high, and who knows? Next week it might just go reverse and take out. Just go up. We're not even bothered to come down and test this level. Okay, but there is this little nagging gap here. Right, so and here's Facebook. Right, Facebook at one time I was also looking for a sort of like a if you could call this a double head and shoulder pattern. Okay. So right now it seems to be try to take out this this pattern by working itself higher, and we could see that also it brought up a engulfing or inside candle here on Friday. So basically looking for this thing to break above or break below. If it break below this engulfing candle, then we look for this trend line. Okay, here's the level that we want to keep an eye on. We don't want to see Facebook get below this level. If it does, then chances are we're going to see a lower level and possibly get back down to the 70. Okay, it could be come back down and test this level down here. Okay, so we want to see this thing maybe consolidate here. If it can't break out of this level in the next couple of days, at least consolidate within, this area, and then pushes up and take out the previous high. Okay, then once it take out that previous high, then we'll be looking at this trend line up here somewhere around in the 90s. Okay, so if we take a look at the weekly to get a little bit of a bigger time frame look here, see I got a price channel set up using the IPO high and also this recovery, this pivot point here. Okay, so essentially we trace this up and we got this little price channel. It's been hovering, on near the upper price channel trend line. So I'm looking for it to come up and tag it, and that would be putting up, somewhere in the, exceed the level of 90, maybe 92 somewhere. Okay. And on Twitter, we finally saw a little bit of a bounce. See this little bit of a hammer or doji hammer candle, a weekly candle, which is, pretty good. Looking at it on the bottom of the, the price action here. Okay, if it's on the top, then we're basically looking at that like a hangman. But this is, this could be a near-term bottoming type of candle that it could result some upper price move to maybe back up to this 38.20. And I've been talking about this 38.20 that I see I have to break above this 38.20 in order to get back above some higher level. As long as it, kind of been, confined in this range here, it is not going to do much. And if we're going to break below this 35, then there's a good chance that it come down and test the IPO low, which is somewhere around this, below the 30 level, which is somewhere around this 29.51. That's the low. Okay, but if we also take a look at the daily price action, you can see on Friday got a nice push. Okay, so right now, essentially watching for some sort of consolidation here. And if you want to take a stab at this, you could stab it to see could it make it up to that 38.20, but tight. Make sure you have your stop right around these areas because you don't want to see it dip down to that 29. Or in other words, you don't want to go down to that 29 level with it. Okay? So just but the thing is, I believe one could be very patient with this thing. I wouldn't even mind to wait until it break out this 38.20 and then come back and retest it, right? Before I even hop on, because if this thing's going to reverse or somebody's going to buy it or whatever, then it's going to take it up here. Now, if you're afraid that maybe there will be some announcement or somebody might put out an offer, go buy some option. Okay, so kind of limit your loss. You limit your risk. Buying some maybe slightly out of the money. With along at least maybe a month or two expiration. Okay. And here's the Alibaba. Remember we talked about Alibaba on this earning gap here. It tried to come up and break this 89, unable to do that, and kind of consolidate, and then finally broke through and tried to get up to fill this gap, but it fell short, and now it's pulling back here. Okay, if it breaks this 84.90, then chances are it could come down and try to fill this gap. So it's either it's going to break above to fill this gap or break below and fill this gap. All right, so just keep an eye on that. And then we got Netflix. All right, Netflix, we talked about this a couple times, about this flag here, right? And then came up to this 80% major move, pretty much, right? Okay. Or at one time, when it broke out, come up and consolidated here, we also talk about this flag. And this flag got the 78% or 78.6, close to 80% major move, and then pull back. So right now, you can see that this thing is, sort of coiling in here, right? Trying to make up its mind where it want to go, right? It came down, dipped down, and then rebounded, and now, so we have to see, could it take out this high, or if dip back down below this low, okay? So we got to be careful on this thing because right now we have a outside candle, but this is a bearish candle, so we got to be careful. It could be setting up for it to come back down. Okay. Then the other one is Amazon, and Amazon, there was a couple of retracement that we're looking at. We got this retracement here, okay, and got it back up, got this thing up at this 1618 at 453 somewhere. Then it pulled back, because of this earning gap here. Okay. So it held the earning gap, and right now it got a little bit of another swing that we actually set up on the Fibonacci retracement. So if it could get up to this 452, then that 475, 476 could be in play. That's the 127 extension. Okay, right now it's kind of hovering at this 439, and you can see that it's kind of confined in this trading band. So look for this 419 on the break. All right, so if it dip below this, then chances are going to come down and fill this gap. Break above this, then most likely it's going to come up and test this 452 and get up to this 475, 476. So that's the scenario that I'm watching. Right? And Google, I've been saying Google is in no man's land. Hands off, right? What are you going to do? You're going to try to trade this thing up here, or you're going to short this thing down here? Why bother? Because there's other better trade out there. Just forget it. And here's Tesla. All right, Tesla, we talk about Tesla breaking out of this trend line here. Let me scroll back, and we see here's that trend line, and we're talking about, when we first talk about this, was watch for the break of this trend line. Once it broke this trend line, it also came back and set up this little flag here. We saw this little flag and say, okay, play this flag, and here it went. Came up to this 100%, and here's the 80%. So actually one exceeded that 100%. So now it's basically trending up, taking out this high and hitting somewhere around this resistance. So the next level is probably in this gap fill here, this little small gap fill at 274.37. But watch this trend line, because it also was kind of hovering, coiling inside of this engulfing candle here. So it could be setting up a little bit of a consolidation pattern, and look for this consolidation to either push up to get this 274, or if it come down, watch this particular trend line here and look for this level. If it break below this level, then the chances are it's going to come down and probably retest some of these support area. But if it hold about this level here, that is, then we could see it continue on with this higher high, higher low. Don't get too hung up on a particular trend line, but do pay attention to these higher high, higher low pivot. Okay, so as long as there is that zigzag, upward zigzag, then the upward trend is still intact. Although it broke the trend line, it just tells us that maybe we just need to adjust the trend line. Okay. Then the next one is GoPro. We talk about GoPro on this inverted head and shoulder. All right. Okay, this inverted head and shoulder broke, came down, retested. So you could say that it may be consolidating here. So you could also play this as a little bit of a bull flag if it break above this area, this pivot level. And here's the major move on this inverted head and shoulder is this 78.6%, somewhere around the 78 level. Okay, now if we play this, let me get this extension here. And if we are going to play this as a flag here on this guy, I'm trying to line it up on this candle here. Okay, so something like this here. Then here's the 78 or the 80% major move, and this is the 100. So you can see it's somewhere around 67 on the 80%, and here's a 68. So you could target, pretty much we could target for a confluence somewhere around that 67, 68 level on the next move. If it's able to hold above this area and push it above this pivot here somewhere around 60, what is this? Somewhere around 61.20. That's a high on this particular candle. So if we get above that 61.20 area, then probably could look at a potential target somewhere around this 67, 68. Essentially, this particular pivot as the target level. Then the one that we haven't been talking about for a while is eBay. Okay, eBay got a little price channel here. I got a little price channel here, and also I got a little bit of an inner trend line here on the recent price action. See, on the recent price action, it broke this pivot here, this long base, and it came up, found some resistance somewhere around the 63 and pull back. Okay, so also you notice this engulfing candle here, and these inside candle is coiling on an upward trajectory. So I'm looking for this thing to possibly break above this engulfing candle and come back up and retest this 63.23. And if we break that 63.23, then I'm looking for it to come up and tag this upward price channel somewhere around that 66 area. Okay. But if we break this channel, this trend line, then look for the lower trend line, the lower channel trend line down here, somewhere around this 58 area for potential support. Essentially this level here, but these pivot low here. Okay, so we're looking for this. It's on the downside if it come down. Okay. Then a couple of these CYBR security and also essentially security software. One is LifeLock. Okay, so one things that I'm looking at is this particular trend line. Okay, so if we break this trend line, then chances are we're looking for a higher level, at least to this level here. Okay, and the other thing is also I got here is like a little flag here. All right, let me zoom this in. So we actually got a little bit like a bull flag, and here's this the flagpole and the retracement or the major move, 78%, 80% level, somewhere around 17.69, so somewhere around $18. Okay, and then on this inverted head and shoulder, right? This inverted head and shoulder major move, okay, is 17.85. So we're targeting about somewhere around, 18, somewhere around this $18 level. Okay, if it break this trend line, chances are it's going to come up and tag these level here. Then the one that's been really kind of believe that it might be getting into the parabolic state here. No, not this one. Okay, this is CYBR, and we're talking about breaking this, this baseline here. Get above this high, which it did. And right now it's kind of seemed to be pulling back, and if we pull back and retest this baseline level somewhere around 70.35, I'd be looking for some setup to go long, right? Because also here's that trend line. It's also found a lot of support on this trend line. It's got a nice bounce here. It's gonna look like a little bit of a cup and handle, okay? And also the other thing is I got a extension here at that 127 somewhere around at 80.67. Okay, so if you look at that, okay, basically it's this particular swing. It came up on the earning gap, right, pulled back, came down to a 38.2, did not close the gap completely, and then it bounces off, and then it booked to it recently, and now maybe after a little consolidation here, okay, what I call shake and bake, and then maybe it could get back up and take out this 127 extension at 80.67. Okay, and there's another one, FEYE. Okay, this one been also making a nice move since it broke this, this resistance here, this baseline. It came up and consolidated, right? Then it broke again, right? So again, if you look at all these things, one thing that have in common. That's why I said, look for those support off trend line bounces. Okay, right? Those are nice area to look for long entry. A lot of people like to look at breakout, but again, you have to understand what to look for. Right? Look at this. Right? Engulfing candle, outside candle. Right? Look at this inside bar. Right? Okay. Look at this hammer. Right? Look at this inside bar. Right? So you gotta look at those things. Don't just look at, bounces off the trend line. You have to, it's just that when it bounces off the trend line, look for setup. If the setup is not there, don't take the trade, okay? So you can see those kind of stuff that increases your odds of the trade going your direction, right? Not saying that it will, but it just increases your odds of having it go in the direction that you are looking for, okay? Because a lot of people think that they, you just go randomly trade everything that touches the trend line, you go buy. That's not the way to trade these trend line off the support of trend line. There's still setup and trigger. Every trade you've got to have a setup and trigger. Okay, so it's just like here, you know, when it break about this particular baseline here, you got an inside bar candle here, right? Okay, trade off of that, right? So at least it gives you some idea where you define your risk, where you're going to set your stop. You don't go arbitrary to say 5% or, you know, just the next candle, the previous candle low. Those are nonsense way of, you know, setting up stop in my mind. But of course, if it works for you, then hey, more power to you. Everybody have a different style, right? There's no right way or wrong way. I'm just telling you what I see it, you know, that, you know, some of the technique that might be a little bit more reliable. Okay, but you know, like I said, anything could happen, right? So, and here it is right now. It's came up, got a little bit of a shooting star type of candle. So we might get a little bit of an evening star like of a formation here. So could see a little bit of a pullback. And right now I got essentially you know, making the assumption that this is the high of this swing here, then set up a Fibonacci retracement to see where are some of the potential support level where it could retrace its back. And I see this 49.78 on the 618. That's one possibility, but there's more likely maybe somewhere around here. It might get down, you know, retrace back down here and find support and then bounce. But anyway, you know, give you some idea. So you don't just go blindly looking for support and hope that it will hold. You know, hope it's not a strategy in trading. And then we got another one, the Vasco data. That's another cybersecurity. So again, it broke out of this, you know, this baseline here. Okay, right. And right now it's got another outside bar engulfing candle. So look for a break above this or break below this. If we break below this, then we'll probably see a little bit of a pullback. Then maybe come back and test this baseline here, in which I have the Fibonacci retracement set up, okay, on this particular swing near this 3060, before we make a push to that 127 extension up here at that 3716. Okay, and then finally, Palo Alto Network, I believe this thing is going into parabolic. So if you don't own it, don't chase it, because right now it's too dangerous to chase this thing. Okay, but if you own it, trail the stop to, you know, lock in some profit, because right now, right, it's got an outside bar here, so it's could be continue to move on the upside on a break above, or come down on a break below, maybe get back to this channel here. Okay. But if we break this trend line, chances are, if we're going to retrace, there's a lot of space down here for it to retrace. Okay, so don't get too greedy on this thing. Watch this particular trade if you're holding it. But if you're not in it, don't chase it, because you could get into a trap. Okay, these things could turn around real quick and will snap, because the way that it ran for so much and for so long. Right? Okay, so that's it. Good luck to you tomorrow and for the following week. Hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend.